Hello friends, it's Natasha. Grab a kettlebell, go for something heavy, maybe a couple size options. Dumbbells will work as well, a single heavy dumbbell. Starting with a quick warm up, push your hands out in front of you, flex and point those hands for wrist strength and mobility. Circle tight fists out and in. And blink out your fingers like you're flicking water off your hands. Do that over the head. Cactus your elbows to the side and then give yourself a crisscross pat on the back a few times. Loosen up those shoulders. Arms are going to swing up and down. Connect to the breath here. Exhale, push down. Hip circles in and out. Rotation in and out. Balancing on one foot. Engaging through your core. All right, some good mornings. Reach up and now fold halfway. Inhale up, exhale, halfway fold. Few of those, stretching out the spine and the hamstrings, engaging the core up and down. Drop into a forward fold and just explore. Shake your head, sway your hips. You could rock into your hands and your feet a little bit, just waking up the body. Bend your knees if you can't touch the ground. Anything you want to do here, just a quick warm up before we start with the kettlebell moves. Simple moves today. Come into a yogi squat, some hip swivels, some more wrist stretching, ankle, toe mobility, high heels and low heels. Counter stretch the wrists with the palms up, and then crawl into a tabletop for some gentle cat-cows, rounding and arching the spine. All right, so what we are working on today are some very simple strength moves. We're keeping everything basic: deadlifts, swings, lunges, squats. Nothing too complex, except for the end we will want to be able to clean and windmill, but we have time to get there. Starting with 10 deadlifts, pick up a heavy kettlebell. I'm going to go ahead and take my rings off here, get everything out of your way, make some space. I am using a 30-pound kettlebell on these deadlifts. I could probably go heavier, so challenge yourself. Here we go. Flat back, hips back, tap the ground and lift. The knees can soften, but it's not a squat. So you're hinging at the hips. You're not necessarily bending at the knees. Butt back, chest forward, halfway down, and squeeze your hamstrings and glutes on the way up. You could count to 10, or you could just go with me, the same timing as me, if that works better, whatever you'd like to do. Then we're going to do 10 on a stag leg stance. Right hand down and up, bend the right knee on the ball of the foot. Same structure, hips back, heart forward, and then rise, squeezing your glutes and your hamstrings. We'll do 10 there. Exhale to drive up, and then you'll switch hands. All right, move the kettlebell to your left hand, toe tap your left foot back, hinge and drive up. You have those options of just kind of working at the same time as me and imagining you're close to 10, or you can actually count if you want to make sure you're getting those 10 reps in. I'm going to try to do minimal talking. You might not even be playing my voice. You can just blast some music. But if you are someone that likes cues, feel free to listen up. We're going to go into squats now. First, your hands are hanging long, and we'll sit in our chair for 10. You can tap the ground and straight up. This time you are really pushing your butt back behind your knees. Imagine sitting in a chair. We're going to do a couple different hand positioning. Exhale to drive up. That was 10. Next hand positioning, you're going to rack the weight in both hands, pull it up to chest level, elbows down by your hips, and now maybe elbows to knees. 10 squats there. Same positioning with your lower body, just a little change with the upper body. Awesome. Set that down, take a moment, and we are going to rack the weight in one hand for 10 more squats and then the other hand. So this is 40 squats by the time you're done. I definitely felt my booty the next couple of days on this. All right, so rack the weight in your right hand, thumb to sternum, elbow by rib cage, now down and up for 10. You can assist with the other hand, just grabbing on. If you're going heavy, you might need both hands, but it's racked over one shoulder. Exhale, drive up, same form on those squats, sitting your hips back behind your knees, driving into your heels, squeezing hamstrings and glutes on the way up. You're doing 10 on one side, and then we'll switch sides, maybe shake out your wrists. Connect to the breath. Heart rate's probably up there now, especially if you're going heavy. All right, now rack your kettlebell at the other side and start your squats. Thumb to sternum, elbow down by your rib cage, and you could do elbow to knee. Rest unless you're still going for the 10 reps. You don't have to work my pacing. All right, walk it out. Any stretches you want to do, quick little recovery time. Then we're moving into lunges. We're going to pass under the kettlebell. I'm going to switch my weight size to the 25-pound kettlebell. Do what works for you. All right, so right hand has the kettlebell. Step back with the right knee and then pass it under and keep alternating. Step back, pass to the other hand, and pass it right back under your hamstring, under that leg. It's a slight hinge to do that, but mostly you're stacked. Shoulders over hips, 290-degree angles. The back knee can tap down or hover. Core is braced. All right, quick recovery if you've done your 10. Next, we're moving into similar lower body lunges, but we're going to do suitcase swings. This one's a little tricky if you've never done it. You're swinging the kettlebell opposite hand and foot, stepping back, and then at the front of your chest, you switch hands. So gather some momentum, opposite leg and kettlebell back, and then switch hands in front of you. Swing, step back. You can pause and practice it. It definitely fires up your obliques and your core to stay in that strong stance and not let the weight take you down. And it gets your heart rate flying. So I'm doing 10 of these and then break. But if you want to do more sets of any of these exercises, hit pause, do some more reps, and come back in. Recover here, and we're moving on. All right, again, maybe you're doing some more reps of the suitcase swings. Otherwise, you might want to take some time to come on down, have a seat, and do some hip release. Windshield wipers, some reverse tabletop, little crab lifts, stretching your quads, hip flexors, chest, shoulders, and just for fun, some crab taps, opposite toe tap, 10 times here. We're going to go into a series of swings. Swings are the ultimate kettlebell move for cardio, for strength. And we'll do a series of traditional swings and hand-to-hand swings. Go heavy if you are familiar with the move. Challenge yourself. We're only doing 10, 3 sets of 10, and then hand-to-hand. I'm going back to my 30-pound kettlebell for these. You're going to set up in a triangle, feet wide, hike the kettlebell back, and then thrust forward with your breath and your hips. Dip and thrust. You can bring the kettlebell shoulder height or maybe a little higher, depending on how much power you're bringing up through your legs, how heavy your kettlebell is. Rest when you're done with 10. We have 2 more sets of those. Hike back and exhale, thrust. quick recovery. Anything you want to do, you can let go of your hands, open your fingers, maybe come down into a yogi squat, maybe a little neck release, and then let's do it again. Third set, hike, and thrust it forward. Exhale, 9, 8, 7. Keep it up. You're either counting in your mind or just working with me. Awesome job. All right, some quick breathing and stretching. You could come down and do some little side to side stretches, standing or kneeling, some gentle twists, some neck release. We're going into hand to hand. At the top of the swing is when you're going to switch hands, then pull the kettlebell in between the legs and thrust the same way, but hand to hand. All right, right hand hikes back, and at the top, switch hands. There's 9. Exhale, 8, 7. Of course, our timing does not have to match. And rest. Beautiful job. Maybe a downward facing dog with some pedals. Stretching your chest towards your toes, lifting your tailbone. And then we're moving into some bridge work, some hip thrusts on your back. You're going to very carefully set that weight up somewhere that's comfortable, and then start your 10 reps. Knees bent, hips lift and lower, squeezing the glutes at the top of the move, and making sure your kettlebell or dumbbell is not going to move. All right, after 10 of these, we're going into 10 sit-ups. Rack the weight at your chest, elbows bent, and curl on up. The weight can work as a counterbalance to help lift you up. And you're going to count 10, and then we're going to repeat that. 10 bridges, 10 sit-ups. Great job. Here you get to rest again. All right, some recovery time. Anything you want to do, from some jumping jacks, jump rope, or walking around, drinking some water. If you have a bench, you might want to use it here. If you don't, you could also use a chair, a couch. We're going to do some bent over rows, and then we're going to try to step up and down. And you could just do the bent over rows without equipment. You don't have to do the same thing I'm doing if you don't have access to a bench or a chair. All right, so 10 bent over rows to a stand and down. Step up and down. Row, step up, step down. A chair would work really nicely. Awesome. That was 10 for me. Little recovery time. You can have a seat. You can stretch anything you need to stretch. And then moving on over to the second side, 10 of the same of whatever you did, even if it wasn't exactly what I'm doing. On your own pacing, you got that bent over row to step up or just the bent over row. Nice work. Take some recovery time, or if you don't need it, whatever you want to do. Again, you could add some cardio, you could keep moving, keep coming up with your own exercises. I'm going to take a little break here. I'm going to put my bench away, and then we just have a few more exercises to go. Short and sweet. You could do this workout every day, a few times a week. It's a great full body workout that also gets your heart rate up. All right. Back to our final exercises. The clean does take some technique, so hopefully you're familiar with racking the weight. If you're not, use a dumbbell. We're going to clean and press and go into a windmill 10 times. Right hand. Clean, rack to press, and then turn your toe out and windmill like a triangle in yoga. Rack and set it down. Second side, you're just alternating. Clean, press, windmill. And it's all going to look different in person to person. So you don't have to dip so far. If you have tighter hamstrings, you might bend the knees or just go elbow to knee, not reaching for the ground. Try to keep your shoulder really stable. Don't let the elbow sag. If you're struggling, you could try a lighter dumbbell or kettlebell. If you're struggling to keep that arm over the head, I think it's helpful to look up at that dumbbell or kettlebell to ensure you are keeping your shoulders stacked there. We're doing 10, which is only going to turn out to 5 on each side, so feel free to add in another set if you want more. Beautiful. Take some time to recover. Next up, we are doing halos. You're going to rack the weight, both hands gripping the kettlebell or dumbbell, and you're going to swing the arms around the head, right to center, left to center. Shoulders, triceps, biceps. If you want a little more core in there, let's go 1 foot balance, 1 foot. So your foot's going to lift, and then you're going to rotate the kettlebell around the head while you're balancing. It does get a little confusing to make sure you're alternating. So think the kettlebell goes away from the leg that's lifted. And when you're done with 10, we just have some around the world swings. So this one might take a couple tries. See, I messed up there, to get the fluidity of the move and learn how to pass it. So you could try 10 going one direction and then push the other way. Trying that back and forth for a few rounds as your kind of finale here. It's It's a nice core exercise. I feel like a gymnast on that pommel horse thing that they do. That's what it reminds me of. And that's a wrap. You did it. Of course, you could repeat any exercises or join me here for a gentle back bend and a bow forward fold. Inhale, cactus, heart up. Exhale, release the spine and neck. One more. Elbows out, squeeze your glutes, and fold. Sweeping down into downward facing dog. Some pedaling again. Connect to the breath, and let's do some spinal waves to finish. Round your spine forward, swing your hips through up dog on toes, tuck your chin, round the spine back to down dog. Again, round forward, unfurl, and then release your hips, shoulders push down, heart up dog on toes, and back to your down dog. How about one more? Rolling forward, swing those hips through, up dog, drop off the knees, squeeze those back muscles, and then press yourself to child's pose. Thank you so much for joining me. Drop a heart in the comments so I can thank you personally. I will see you in the next video. Let me know how it went. I love to hear from you. Bye.